Humanity struck a happy medium in thought when it came to scientific progress. Meticulous and patient enough to begin understanding the universe around them. Yet brash and crazy enough to make the odd leap of genius every decade or so. They made their way to orbit around their home planet, then onwards to the planets orbiting their home star, much like the rest of the developed galaxy. But they grew in ways other races didn't even imagine. It's a question of how much their advancement, however, is owed to their happy medium or their centuries-long entrapment. The key to faster-than-light travel was mathematics, left behind by the precursors for the younger races to find in beacons scattered on their home worlds throughout the galaxy. No single race had ever become true star voyagers without the assistance of the beacons. Sooner or later, they would find the beacon on their planet, decrypted, and use that knowledge to spread through their sector of the galaxy before meeting those who made the process before. But not the children of Earth. By circumstances lost to history, maybe from a worried precursor who feared for humanity's welfare, or a malevolent precursor's deliberate sabotage, the beacon for humanity left behind a different message. When humans unearthed and decrypted the beacon in East Africa during the 22nd century CE, instead of receiving a key to the locks of light speed, they got a warning. There are monsters beyond the rim. They knew our technology superseded it. They intended it that way. You must walk a different path. Stay in this system, stay safe until you feel you are ready. Humanity was frustrated, excited, terrified, and galvanized by this message. The technology within the beacon itself was centuries ahead of what anyone on Earth had. This was no hoax. But, as advanced as this race was, it didn't help them against these monsters. How could we, humanity argued, defend against them? The message was clear though. As long as the human race stayed within Sol, it was safe. So, humanity made the great exodus into space the hard way. One by one, old hatreds died. The damage done to Earth was reversed. The colonies on the Moon and Mars flourished and expanded, and the inner and outer planets were reached. The asteroid belt was harvested, metal and ice fueling the expansion, making great stations in deep space, each holding millions of souls. Mercury was cracked and reorganized into solar stations around the sun. Not forgetting the warning, humanity redoubled its efforts in science and technology, making its own path. Everything from medicine to robotics was met with renewed vigor and larger budgets. Prototypes for the first space-borne warships that will no doubt be needed to fight these monsters were designed, built, then redesigned and built again. The war with disease was won, energy shortages were relegated to the history books, and computers became increasingly complex and capable. A major breakthrough was made with the advent of quantum computational substrate, the new silicon in electronics. Operations of a level unmatched in human history became commonplace. Then, arguably one of the biggest leaps of genius in history was made. The uploading of a human brain into a computer was an ancient theme in fiction, but now it was finally possible. The procedure was initially restricted to volunteers on their deathbeds, then the super rich. But as it was honed over the centuries, eventually everyone who reached the age of 25 was given the chance to be uploaded. Their mind, their intelligence, was transferred from their organic brain to a small box, about the size of a hand, filled with substrate. That box, and by extension, the individual, could be connected to a virtual simulation, or to a robotic platform in the real world. The platform could range from a body with the looks and sensory feedback of an organic body, although with cybernetic augmentations, to more obviously mechanical bodies. For roles such as construction or security, to those of non-bipedal machines, even spaceships. The box can seamlessly transition from one body or sim to another, so an individual could spend their working day as an assembly mech, then come home in their human platform with skin, hair, sweat, tactile feedback, the works. This changed society forever. Death became non-existent, only happening to those who believed they had seen enough centuries. The population exploded because having kids was as possible and as enjoyable as ever. The effects of this explosion, today breaking through the 1 trillion mark, was negated almost entirely by the much lower demands of uploaded. Small stations could now house sims of huge megacities, millions of minds. And the larger stations could hold entire planets, billions. It is no cornucopia one must achieve if they desire wealth. But no one could be said to be poor or malnourished. E-democracy was established, major decisions could be debated and decided upon at the speed of light by participants, and anyone could be a participant. Humanity staggered on, unlocking one secret of the universe after another. Adding ships to the ever-growing fleet, dedicated to protecting Sol. They had no measure of the monster's military strength, if they even still existed. All they knew was that for every ship built, every soldier trained and every anti-proton generated, their chances of survival increased. But it would still count for naught if they couldn't even leave the system. FTL drive was proven to exist by the beacon, but the physics behind it was such a monumental problem to solve. Still, every generation since the warning dedicated experts to the cause of unlocking this technology. Until finally, 1974 years since the first manned mission to the moon. A test ship holding a prototype FTL drive departed Earth, arriving at Mars in 5 minutes when light would take 20 minutes to make the same journey. Even then, after the system-wide rejoicing, humanity took its time finishing the latest additions to the fleet and upgrading every ship. Only then, a small flotilla was sent on the maiden voyage to Proxima Centauri, arriving in mere hours. Thankfully, giant space monsters primed to kill all humans didn't jump out of nowhere. So, the cautious march forward went on, ships exploring the nearby systems for any sign of the precursors. The younger races, or, worst case scenario, the monsters. Author's name and the link to original text is in the description. Consider tapping the thumbs up and pressing the subscribe button if you want to listen to the subsequent parts of this story.